Good morning, my brothers and sisters in rocketry and remote control. Welcome back to the pursuit. The rain's coming down pretty hard today, so we're not going to drive any cars and we're not going to launch any rockets today. Instead, I'm going to talk to you about all the kits that I have to build and have built and launches, and we're going to focus on rocketry today. A little bit of RC, mostly rocketry. So as you can see, I spent a little time laying out everything I've got going on in my rocketry world and a little bit of RC. But here we are, all the kits that I have yet to build, several that I have built or are in stages of being built, a couple that are ready to go. Some I've launched before even. I mean, I've launched that Big Bertha 4 times. I've launched this one twice at least. So I've got a great mix of rockets here. I've got some vintage old school SDs like the Star Striker in the box. I love that. I love payloaders. I love that it comes in a box. I love that it has a standoff for the launch lug, lots of balsa wood fins. Modeling, you have to model, you have to build things. Got a modern Super Big Bertha 2025 Super Big Bertha and a first production run 1990 Super Big Bertha. That's kind of cool. That's the year I graduated high school. Of course, I bought one of the Xylofoxen Little Spites. She's an aerospace engineer. She's a fantastic educator and great presence on YouTube. She's a pilot as well. She's solo flying and building her own airplane right now, as far as I know, on her channel. Go over there and subscribe if you haven't. If you're in rocketry and you don't know who Xylofoxen is, then I don't even know what to say. You really need to subscribe to her. She's a badass. All right, here's an Olympus rocket. These are only available at Hobby Lobby, so I grabbed a second one. I've already built one. We'll show you that in just a minute. That's a boosted Bertha, so it's 2-stage Big Bertha. Just add a little booster on the bottom, get a few hundred more feet. Two Big Berthas, just standard issue, current run Big Berthas, purchased at Hobby Lobby for half of what they sell on the Estes website. And then there's a Cherokee E, also purchased at Hobby Lobby sometime in the past 6 months. They no longer have it. The website doesn't have it. So if you can get one, grab it, build it. It's a fun rocket. I heard someone posted on YouTube once that everyone they know who has launched a Cherokee is still looking for it, which makes me laugh every time I think about it. So that rocket goes high, apparently. This is an Estes Mayhem. This is a BT-60 to a BT-65 payload transition, and I 3D printed the sled and purchased the Pocket Labs Voyager sensor. We're going to launch that with a ton of electronics, get some data, have a good time. This is a Crossfire ISX. This is probably my favorite rocket that I've ever launched. If you've watched my channel at all, the very first video is one of these with a D16 4FJ, a Quest rocketry composite propellant motor, and it really scoots off the pad fast. It went high, probably went 1,500 feet. I launched it 3 times. On the third launch, we had a separation event, so I lost both the fuselage and the parachute. Anyway, I'm building another one. Here's an old school Estes phaser. Pretty hard to find because they're really easy to build, so most people built them out and launched them, had a good time with them. Finding them in the kit sealed like this is pretty rare. Yes, I'm going to flip those fins right over and make it just look a little bit different. 1,200 feet? Okay, we'll see. Here's another old school, out of production, vintage rocket, vintage-ish, I would say, but made in USA. This is an Estes Meteor. It has a BT-55 tube, I think, the body tube, and then it does launch with 18 millimeter motors, but we may put a 24 millimeter. Yeah, it's a BT-55 tube, so we may put a 24 millimeter motor in there and see what happens, because 800 feet, that's not enough. Anyway, Here's another one that's out of production. Also has the payload. It goes from a BT-20 to a BT-50 payload. It transitions right there, of course. Got the launch lug standoff that I look for, the payload. I just like the look of this rocket. Whether we're going to chase any comets, that remains to be seen. I don't know when I'm going to launch it or if there's any comets in the neighborhood we can chase. Anyway, here's an Alpha. This is probably SD's most well-known kit rocket. It happens to be the same rocket that was the very first rocket I launched in 1987. I received a launch set complete with motors, everything. I built it, launched it a few times, had a good time with it. And so I grew up in an engineering and science family. My sister is an astronomer, astrophysicist. Both my parents are engineers. So I was always into science and things, but building rockets and modeling, this was what started that for me. So that's been kind of cool. I think that's all the kits from Estes that I haven't built yet. So I also have a couple of Apogee components or Apogee rocketry kits. This is Avion. This is their basic starter kit. I just got it because it's a good comparison to the Alpha from Estes. And then I got the Aspire because, you know, they make some big claims here that it flies over a mile high. In certain conditions it will. If you use a launch tower, for example, and not a rail or a rod, and if you build it a certain way to handle that kind of propellant and thrust, yes, I think you can get 5,000 plus feet pretty easy with that rocket. So I've never built any Apogee rockets. Those will be the first. I have built a Quest rocket and enjoyed it. I built a Big Betty. This is a gamma ray. Again, it has a payload section, which I like. And I imagine it has an offset launch lug. Who knows? Doesn't show in the graphics, but we'll see. This should be pretty fun to build and launch. Finally, in the unbuilt kits is a Semrock Cherokee D. I'm very excited about this. I love the Cherokee fin style, and I just like the look of the rocket. I think the history of the rocket is interesting, a little bit dark, but interesting, and very much, helped humanity, helped pilots, because it was part of a project to develop ejection seats, make it safer for pilots to eject from their aircraft. All right, so that's it for unbuilt kits. Now, what do we have that's built, almost ready, whatever stages, but kind of built? Let's say at the minimum it's got fins. So I 3D printed a rocket. Yep, that's a big one. That's a lot of PLA. I even made the nose cone from PLA. We'll probably change that. I may use fiberglass. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to machine my own aluminum centering rings or purchase fiberglass centering rings, but I think we're going to make this a 29 millimeter motor rocket and see what happens there. That's in the works right now. This is a Aerotech initiator I got as a set with the Mantis launch pad over there, and I intend for that to be my level 1 certification rocket. All right, next up is a Lock Precision Park Flyer Magnum. This is their BT-60 equivalent body tube, 29 millimeter motor mount. That nose cone is super heavy. The airframe tubes are really thick, almost fiberglass-like. Not phenolic, but close. Fins are, of course, plywood. They're thick. I used Thixo marine epoxy on these. I really want this to get up. I want some altitude from this one. It's a burly rocket. It can handle a lot of thrust. All right, there's the Olympus that I built. I flipped the fins over and I used the smaller portion of the fin as a kind of a canard or a strake. And we'll see how that flies. The payload section, it's not cut straight. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not real happy about that, but some sanding, some modeling, some cutting will get that a little bit straighter. And here's the venerable Gray Goose, the Big Betty that I launched with the altimeter. This one recorded 388 feet, so that was a good benchmark to reach. And this is a Quest Big Betty, so that's a Big Bertha from Estes. That's a Big Betty from Quest. 3 fins, similarly shaped to the Big Bertha. Of course, I used that Bob Smith, make those glassy Glassy smooth fillets. Look at that. All right, we'll see how she flies once I finish. There's going to be a lot of sanding involved here. They're not that great. I'm kind of being facetious a little bit there, but they turned out okay. All right, the next three are BT-55 body tube rockets. These two are Cherokee E. This one is built according to the instructions. I used the white tube as the fin can, and the regular paper tube as the body. And this one I flipped it over. That's going to be a payload. That is a payload section. I also made standoffs for the launch lugs on this one. It's an okay build. This is one of my earlier builds when I got back into it 6 months ago. So it may be a little bit heavy at the bottom here. I went a little bit wild with the epoxy at first. It's definitely not as subtle as these are. This one though, this one has a pretty good fin can coated with epoxy. I think y'all have seen that once. I haven't launched it yet. This is the Estes Magician. Almost exactly the same as the Cherokee E. Same fins, same body tubes, fin can. The Magician comes with a reduced transition down to a BT-50 payload, and I really like that about it. So I made my own standoffs here from bamboo skewers and epoxied those in, and that should be an interesting launch. I don't know what else to say. It just should be interesting. All right, here's some more built rockets. These are Lock Precision High-Techs. They're 1-inch version. Of course, I blew up my Magnum 1-inch version that's in the same series as these. This one is launched twice. The upper body tube is over there hanging. I painted it. Here, the last two are basically pre-built rockets. You'd have to do a little assembly on the Astrocam. I've lost one Astrocam. You can see video from when I launched it successfully and got good video in my neighborhood. I bought another, of course. So we'll launch that pretty soon. And then here's a Riptide. I also lost the Riptide back in the fall, so I got another one to kind of set that right. Because, of course, I've decommissioned Launch Complex 71, and we're not going to launch and lose rockets from here anymore. So that's just kind of an overview of the rocketry that is going to happen in 2026 on my channel. So if you're interested, hey, give me a subscription. And I think we'll have a lot of fun because this is the pursuit. And we are in pursuit of knowledge, space with a homemade rocket, and most of all, just fun. I just want to have fun. I want to have a good time. I want to laugh when a rocket blows up or I crash an RC car. I want to go and fix it and learn some more and then go back out and do it again. And I don't know what else there is to it, to life, really. So here you are. Here are my 3 current RC cars. That's maybe in the gray area between toy and hobby. This is absolutely a toy grade drift car, but we'll get some video of that. And then this one is also kind of a hybrid of toy and hobby because it has gyro equipped steering or gyro assisted steering. It has lights that work, fully proportional steering and throttle, 3 power settings. It's a really cool little car. And I mean, it's a unicorn. No one did it better than Ken Block. Rest in peace, brother. All right. There you go. Rocketry and RC coming at you in 2026. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'm truly grateful for you. And more to come.